We're continuing on today in Isaiah chapter 6 in its Greek Old Testament or Septuagint version. Moving here today to verse 3. Yesterday we met the seraphs inside the building that the prophet Isaiah is beholding in his vision. And today we hear what those seraphs are saying. This verse is sometimes called the Trisagion, for reasons I think we will soon see. And this verse is also quoted in Revelation 4:8. So let's read this verse together in Greek. Kai ekekragon heteros proston heteron, kai elegon hagios, 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 kurios sabaoth, pleres, pasa hege, tes doxes autou. We can translate this verse as follows. And they were crying out each one to the other, and saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Sabaoth. Full is all the land with his glory. I want to look first at this unusual verb here, ekekragon. It certainly is an unusual form, and grammarians and commentators have gone different ways in how they've analyzed it. Some look at it as a form of the verb kradzo in the second aorist. And second aorist for kradzo often does get reduplicated, like we see here, ekekragon, even when it's outside the perfect tense form. However, there's another way of looking at it, and that is to read this verb in the same way that we read the two verbs we met at the end of our verse yesterday in verse 2, katekalupton and apetanton. And we noted yesterday that these two verb forms are imperfect tense form and convey imperfective aspect. And that is exactly why I translated it as they were crying out imperfective aspect one to another. Now, what exactly the verbal root is for this particular verb is uncertain. It might be kradzo, but it may be actually a derivative or related form, kekrago. Now, another word I want to look at here is sabaoth, which we can see in footnote 15 is a transcription or transliteration. Now, the Hebrew word that's being transliterated here is tsavaot, from tsava, meaning a host, a large group, or oftentimes an army. And I think the reason that the translators decided not to use a Greek word to convey the meaning of the Hebrew phrase here is because the term itself is a kind of title or name for God that had become very common in the religious life of the Jewish community in which the translators were working. If that kind of thing sounds interesting to you, then I would encourage you to check out this new resource, which I co-authored with Greg Lanier of RTS Orlando. It's called The Septuagint, What It Is and Why It Matters, and it's just been published with Crossway. So if you're interested in this kind of questions about the cultural context, the purpose, and the influence of the Septuagint, then this is a new resource you certainly want to check out.